Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Osama Shah. Massive crowd built up at the New Delhi railway station. This crowd was for the Kumbh trains. 4 people have been hospitalized after they fell ill. Railways say that this was not a stampede, although several people have been injured and some of them fainted. Many had suffocated and are in the hospital. According to the sources in the ministry, what we understand is that the situation is under control. The railway minister, he is at the railway station at the moment. And my colleague Shreya Ghosh joins us to get us more on this. Shreya, what is the latest that you can tell us?
Well, of course, we know, Osama, that the railway ministry is telling us that everything is under control for now. And Delhi police and RPF, they have reached the New Delhi railway station. The injured have been taken to the hospital, and special trains being run to evacuate the sudden rush. The police sources tell us that how it all happened is when the Prayagraj Express was standing at platform number 14 in the New Delhi railway station, a large crowd had gathered on the platform. And besides the Swarna Senani Express and Bhubaneswar Rajdhani, these 2 trains were delayed, and these 2 trains were heading towards Prayagraj, and passengers from these 2 trains particularly were present at platforms 12, 13 and 14. And sources also tell us that almost 1,500 general tickets were sold by the railways every hour. So one can imagine how massive that crowd must be, and therefore as a result the crowd became completely uncontrollable, and that kind of led to this stampede-like situation. Many people, they kept jostling. They were trying to find some space, and they almost fainted because of the suffocation. 4 women have fainted. Almost 15 to 16 people have been injured, and as per sources, they have been hospitalized. And all of this, kind of happened at platform number 14 and near platform number 16. This is what, the police sources are telling us. It essentially happened because these 2 trains were delayed, and that is why the people there, the crowd there, is questioning the railway administration, the management, as to why this kind of a situation erupted in the first place. And at around 9 o'clock, 9:14. The people kind of informed the administration about the situation, and 14 to 15 people were injured, and they were soon taken to the Lok Nayak, Jai Prakash Narayan and Lady Hardinge hospitals in the vicinity. And fire tenders have also been deployed. Security forces have been deployed at this point. And we know that earlier, last month also we saw almost 30 people losing their lives and being injured in the stampede at the Maha Kumbh itself, the venue in Prayagraj. And now this has taken place, although we are being told that there is nothing much to worry because situation is under control. The railway ministry is reiterating that one shouldn't believe in the rumors that it is a stampede. It is not a stampede. If we are talking about this tonight's event in the New Delhi railway station, they are reiterating that it is not a stampede. Although we can see the visuals, it's out there for people to see the crowd. There was no crowd management, and that is why people were left, jostling for space. There was a heavy influx of people, who were going for the Maha Kumbh Mela in Prayagraj. We know that this is a major event. It's a spiritual sangam, and it happens once in like almost 100 years, and therefore there is a huge excitement for this, and that is why the people, the passengers who were waiting for the train that was heading to Prayagraj, and when they got to know that those trains got cancelled, out of panic, they started pushing, and that is how the whole situation became chaotic, leading to push and pull and leading to people suffocating and with 4 women being fainted.
Meanwhile, from what we understand, the Northern Railway has also clarified that this wasn't a stampede but rather a rumor, and that They were running two planned special trains for Prayagraj. The exact cause of this entire incident is still unclear, but investigations are currently underway. And shifting our focus to the big news break on NDTV from Washington, D.C. Tahawur Hussain Rana, a key plotter in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, he has filed a final appeal in the United States, potentially delaying his extradition to India by a few weeks. Rana's plea is based on humanitarian grounds. Tahawur Rana, a key accused in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, is set to be extradited to India from the United States. This was announced by President Donald Trump himself. Now, this entire decision, it marks a significant step in India's efforts to bring the perpetrators of the deadly attack to justice.
India's wait to mount a legal trial on Indian shores against Tahawur Hussain Rana, key Mumbai 2611 plotter, just got a bit longer. Despite having fought a patient legal battle spanning nearly 2 decades on the American soil and winning the case right up till the United States Supreme Court, Indian side will have to wait slightly more longer to get Tahawur Hussain Rana on the Indian soil. Rana's extradition was cleared by the United States Supreme Court and announced by President Donald Trump with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his side post their delegation-level talks in Washington, D.C. Informed sources exclusively tell NDTV that having won its case in the Supreme Court, India stands a big chance to get Tahawur Hussain Rana very, very quickly, and this last throw of dice can only delay the matter by a few weeks. Nikunj Garg reporting for NDTV from Washington, D.C.
The United States and India will be working together like never before to confront the threat of radical Islamic terrorism, a threat all over the world, actually. Today, I'm pleased to announce that my administration has approved the extradition of one of the plotters and one of the very evil people of the world, and having to do with the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack, to face justice in India. So he's going to be going back to India to face justice. We're giving a very violent man, it seems to me. I mean, I don't know that he's been convicted yet or will be, but let's assume he's a pretty violent person. We're giving him back to India immediately, and there are more to follow because we have quite a few requests. So we work with India on crime, and we want to make it good for India, and it's very important. So that kind of a relationship is very important to us.
The Munich Security Conference is underway and all eyes are on the key discussions and the decisions being made there. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called for creation of a European army. He in fact warned that Russia is not preparing for dialogue. US Vice President J.D. Vance, in the meanwhile, he made a speech at the summit slamming Europe for what he says is a retreat in freedoms across the continent. The speech is being seen as an unprecedented dressing down of the US's closest allies.
I'm focusing on surviving of our country, and I'm doing really all my term. Half of my term was COVID, another half is the war with Putin or against him. Yes, so this is what really very important. I'm ready, to speak about elections if you want. Ukrainians don't want, totally don't want, because they're afraid, because otherwise we will lose the military law, war law, and our soldiers will come back home, and Putin will occupy all our territory. It will be, because now we're mobilized, now we are one organism, yes, so we are one country. Yeah, that's why it's very important to hold and to save it. And it doesn't matter, we need unity in country. So it's not about, myself, it's about the future of our country. It's about, for today, really, the question is to survive. The question is to save Ukraine, our independence, our people, our homes. And if somebody doesn't like, they can choose another citizenship.
A couple of days after Donald Trump made that rather dramatic tweet where he said that there was going to be a peace solution and that the war between Russia and Ukraine was going to come to an end, there is a sense of disbelief over here in Europe and perhaps a sense of disappointment in many parts of the world who were hoping, among people who were hoping, that the war would in fact come to an end after the beginnings or the contours of a peace proposal could be identified. 2 days into the talks, that has not been the case, with messages from the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky suggesting that perhaps the European support that he has, the European countries that support him, are not keen for this war to end just yet because there is no solution which is acceptable to them. Which is why, at this juncture, Europe, all the major powers, all the members of NATO seem to be of a view which is very different from that of the United States. Remember, the United States yesterday, in a startling speech, had the US Vice President make the point that there has been a climb down of freedoms in Europe itself. There's been freedoms which are no longer what they used to once be, and therefore the basis of NATO and the basis of the relationship between America and Europe seems to have evolved or changed over a period of time, with the US Vice President suggesting that Europe needed to take a deep, long look at itself in understanding or evaluating where it stands presently. This lecture, in a sense, from the US Vice President in Munich in Germany was a real shocker. Senior German leaders at the Munich conference today said that it's not about one nation thinking about itself, it's about various nations, partners in NATO coming together. You've had British leaders over here saying that the concept of a European army is something that needs to be looked at much more substantially, that the GDP spend of European nations needed to go beyond that 2.5% for this to be feasible. Now, these are all long-term plans, because if America is not convinced about pursuing the war in Ukraine, it isn't willing to continue arming Ukraine, then the writing seems to be on the wall, because in terms of the industrial capacity of European nations to continuously feed the Ukrainians in this war effort, that seems to be missing. They were piggyback riding, in a sense, on what America was supplying. And of course they were arming Ukraine as well, but perhaps not enough. In all of this, in the absence of a peace formula, the lives continue to be lost. Hundreds of thousands of lives on all sides. There is no good solution to the end of this war, but there is no solution, unfortunately, at sight or in sight just yet. In Munich, Germany, with camera person Rakesh Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Israel has freed 369 Palestinian prisoners in the largest such release since the truce began. This comes after Hamas released 3 more Israeli captives from Gaza in the latest exchange following tense negotiations. Palestinian prisoners arrived in Ramallah to cheering crowds, while others, they were sent back to Gaza, the West Bank and Egypt. Among those freed is Ahmed Barghouti, a close aide to Palestinian political figure Marwan Barghouti. At least 4 prisoners, they were taken to the hospital for treatment. With the ceasefire still fragile, negotiations continue to determine the fate of more captives on both the sides.
يوم أحلى يوم في العالم، اليوم خلقت على وجدي إن أنا كنت ميتة في حياتي، ما إلي حياة غير أولادي. لما شفت ابني ردت لي الروح، ردت الروح علي والحياة.
Believed that the ceasefire continued to hold in Gaza and that more hostages held in Gaza have been released earlier today. And I call once again for the release of all the hostages held in Gaza and for all the parties to fulfill their obligation, hoping that after the first stage of the ceasefire, we will be able to go into the second and then to the third stage of the ceasefire. A return to an all-at-war situation with a total sealing of the Gaza Strip would be an absolute disaster for the population there, and obviously operating would become absolutely impossible.
Israel and Hamas have now completed the 6th wave of hostage-for-prisoner exchanges under the terms of their ceasefire agreement. Hamas in the morning released 3 Israeli hostages, all men, and Israel released 369 Palestinian prisoners. It's a sign that the ceasefire deal is back on track after a tense dispute earlier in the week that threatened to derail the fragile truce. The 3 hostages released by Hamas include a Russian Israeli, an Argentinian Israeli, and an American Israeli. The 369 Palestinian prisoners released by Israel include 36 who were serving life sentences for deadly attacks, but the vast majority of them were Palestinians who were detained without charge following the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023. While the crisis has been averted for now, it remains unclear whether this ceasefire will make it into the second phase, under which Hamas is supposed to release all remaining hostages in exchange for Israel ending the war.
The Punjab Chief Minister, Bhagwant Mann, he criticized the centre over the impending arrival of another aircraft carrying illegal Indian immigrants deported from the United States. Bhagwant Mann has accused the BJP-led central government of deliberately trying to defame Punjab by choosing Amritsar as the landing site for these flights. BJP has hit out, saying that Bhagwant Mann should avoid doing politics on such sensitive issues. Punjab Congress has also slammed Punjab Chief Minister, calling Bhagwant Mann's statement meaningless and saying that there is no bid to defame Punjab. And my colleague Gurpreet Singh Chinna joins us from Amritsar. Gurpreet, what is the latest that you can tell us?
Well, what we have learned, the plane has already been landed at the airport, and I'll request my vijay to show these visuals where this plane has just been landed here. What we have learned, around 119 Indians have been deported from US, those who are already in the plane, and now all the procedures and proceeding of immigration check and other formalities have already been initiated here. We have seen this has become one of the major political issue in the state of Punjab. One side, the Punjab Chief Minister, he has already put a lot of question mark. He says the way this has been decided to land this plane at Amritsar airport, that means they wanted to defame Punjab. At the same time, the BJP also, Ravneet Bittu, we had a word with him. He was saying that this is a very serious concern at this point of time. There is need to investigate from all the angles how these people, Punjab people, have landed illegally to US and who were the travel agent and what was the reason behind all these things. He says that at this point of time there should not be politics on this issue, and he has put also a lot of question mark over the question which was being raised by the Punjab Chief Minister. So we have to wait and watch, because the formalities have already been started inside. The plane has just been landed here at Amritsar airport, and now after doing all the formalities, I will also request my vijay to show all the picture, the family members of these deportees. They have already been reached here to take their children from this airport. Now let's see that what type of politics will be carried out between the political party, but as of now it seems it has become one of the major political issue in the state of Punjab. And one side the BJP says there is need to take action against those travel agents who were instrumental for taking all these gullible people to US through illegal means. So let's see that what type of investigation will be carried by Punjab police. As of now, these deportees have already reached at Amritsar, and now the further proceeding is already in process. Back to studio.
Gurpreet Singh Chinna there. Thank you very much for getting us all the latest. Time now for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. The RBI superseded the board of Maharashtra-based New India Cooperative Bank for 12 months, one day after imposing several restrictions due to poor governance standards and irregularities in its lending business. The former general manager of the bank, he has been arrested for allegedly embezzling 122 crore rupees from the treasury. The Economic Offences Wing has also started a probe.
The branches of New India Cooperative Bank in Mumbai saw long queues for the second consecutive day, as people awaited silently for answers and keys to their lockers. Even after the EOW took over the case, the general public has little faith and more apprehension.
पूरी जिंदगी भर की पूंजी
इसी में है देखो सामने ऑटो खड़ा हुआ चलाता हूँ मैं, और ऑटो से जो पैसा बचा है थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर करते करते उसमें डालते गया, एफडी बनाया, ये किया कि मतलब बाद में काम आएगा अपने, आज वो नहीं आ रहा है मेरे काम, आज वो पैसा ख़त्म हो रहा है, दिखता है। अभी 65 की उम्र में हम आगे क्या करेंगे?
The former general manager of the bank, Hitesh Mehta, has been arrested in the alleged 122 crore rupees scam. As an account head of Prabhadevi and Goregaon branches, he allegedly misdirected the funds to his acquaintances during the pandemic. Given the fresh memory of the scams at PMC and Yes Bank, few banks are safe for the depositors, according to many. However, their doubts increase, especially in the case of a cooperative bank. But what is the reason?
In India, there is a cooperative bank sector which is slightly, lesser regulated. If you look at commercial banks, they are slightly prone to more regulations from RBI. They follow the Basel II and Basel III norms, which is something lacking for a cooperative bank. And if you look at cooperative banks, they are spread across geographies. I mean, there are multi-state cooperative banks, there are state cooperative banks, and there could be local cooperative banks which may operate in a smaller geography also. So, and they are subject to probably lesser regulations as compared to RBI.
While the experts claim that this is an example of an one-off event causing a cascading effect, the opposition has taken this opportunity to slam the government and has also demanded for an SIT committee.
We have requested the Supreme Court, हमने एक plea file की है कि यहाँ पर EOW, we don't think so that the EOW or EDO officials are interested in the case to get back the money of the people. We have filed a petition कि एक भी बैंक बंद होता है तो SIT बिठाए जाए और जो last end तक culprit है उनको Supreme Court strict से strict सजा दे, because this is not a scam, this is financial terrorism and we are against this.
As far as the New India Cooperative Bank issue is concerned, the customers from Warsaw have taken the matters in their own hands and have started a signature campaign.
See, we are the layman. We don't know the process, but we are trying to connect to the people who are aware of the law and order. So we are trying to connect, we are trying to get them into the loop, and we are trying to fight with the system. Let's see, it is our efforts. We are trying.
They have 2,400 odd crores of deposits. Out of 2,400 odd crores of deposits, they have about 70% which are term deposits, 27% savings. Now my worry is that 680 crores, 27% odd, and I'm talking of approximate numbers. So around 680 crores of deposits which are in the savings account. Now that money is the one which is the biggest concern for me.
The New India Cooperative Bank controversy has shed light on the loopholes of the cooperative banking sector here in India. While the EOW has summoned the former general manager for the embezzlement of as many as 122 crores, the people or the depositors are highly apprehensive about the future course of their money, considering the precedent they have is of banks like PMC and other cooperative banks where the depositors are still waiting to get their money back. With camera person Himanshu, this is Anuj Raith reporting for NDTV from Mumbai.
Adani Group chairperson Gautam Adani, accompanied by his wife Dr. Preeti Adani, visited Ajmer Sharif Dargah in Rajasthan. They offered makhmal chadar and flowers at the revered shrine. The Adani Group chairperson posted about this visit on social media, saying that he prayed for everyone's safety and security. The Ajmer Sharif Dargah, remember, is considered to be one of the holiest Muslim shrines in India and is also a famous landmark in Ajmer. Time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.